So just settle into a comfortable seated posture, be comfortable. And just close your eyes and settle in. Feet flat on the floor, about a hips width apart, if your legs are down. But perhaps you're sitting cross-legged already, so in which case your feet are going to be underneath your legs. Regardless, just feel the sensation at the soles of the feet, whether they're on the floor or underneath you. And then feel the weight of your sits bones in the chair and maybe the backs of the legs in the chair. Really feel the weight of your pelvis just releasing into the chair and your sits bones again. Just notice that. And now try and align your shoulders with your hips and your ears with your shoulders. And imagine your spine is this beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So you're just lengthening your spine, putting some space in between the vertebrae. And then just go to the crown of the head and see if you can feel any sensation there. And just notice the sensations that you do feel. So whether they're, pressure or a slight tingling. And then just relax your scalp. And then relax your forehead and your eyebrows and your eyes and the back of the eye and the nose and the cheeks, the area around the mouth and the back of the tongue. Maybe even relax your teeth, relax the jaw, the ears and the inner ear and your temples, the back of the head. Maybe just put a little length in, just in the back of the neck, just to prevent yourself from having any restrictions at the base of the skull. And allow your shoulders and your shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat and the chest and the belly and all of your limbs. And just bring your attention now to the sensations of the breath as you inhale and exhale. So you might notice the nostrils, the air flowing in and out of the nostrils, the chest cavity, the expansion and contraction of the chest cavity, and the soft rising and falling of the abdomen. And then be aware of any sound in your environment and also potential distractions. So just allowing all of that to be there, trying not to investigate. And then, check in with your mind as well. How are you doing this evening? And then just notice the kinds of thoughts that are in your mind tonight. Like, what kinds of things are you thinking about? What do you feel? And then just maybe try and take a little step back and look at it, whatever it is you're thinking about, from, it's almost like zoom out onto the bigger picture, into the bigger picture. And then just maybe try not to have any opinions about the thoughts, just allowing them to arise, just long enough that you can see what the thought is without jumping in and getting all wrapped up in the emotion of the thought, of the story. And then be aware of all the people of your life, your loved ones and your strangers, and the ones you don't really like very much, you have aversion for, you want to keep away from. And just but remember, all these people, they have all they have all this in common. They want to be happy, they don't want to suffer, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. And it's very hard for us to imagine that about the person that we don't like. And the stranger we just don't really particularly think about. So we're left with our loved ones, who of course we think are the best thing since sliced bread. But it's the same for everyone. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, and by extension, all the sentient beings. So we think there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, and equally we can change it by creating positivity instead. And we start with this power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think, I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering, and also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and then think, I'm sick of suffering. So what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. So it's not that we need Buddha to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. And he has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair, his eyes are long and they're sort of shaped like lotus petals. And he has his hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, and his left is underneath his right. The left hand is closest to his heart. And the left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right holds a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion And when they're crossed like this, it represents the union of these two. And this symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have this little section here on developing compassion. And in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, for the very beings we have harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So we think particularly of people we've harmed recently, and then in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember those who have harmed you and have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them sometime in the future. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think, I must purify for their sake. And then we come to this power of remedy, and this is the actual medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita jita meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mempi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva aham pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan, sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe. Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Aham Pe Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe Vajrasattva samayam manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita jida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tatagata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham. So be really delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech. And Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech. And this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified, all of our inappropriate speech, all purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jita Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata A Hum Pe Om Vajrasapa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawazidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya, vajrasapa dina patita, jida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe. Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra a hum pe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And the next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine as instantaneously as flicking on a light switch in a dark room, the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra. And then immediately all the darkness of the negativity of your mind is instantly dispelled. All your attachment and depression and bitterness and grudges and anxieties and worry and neediness and depression, resentment, jealousy, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra again. Om Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya tata a hum pe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe Vajrasapa samaya manupalaya Vajrasapa dina patita jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anurakta me boa sawa siddhi me piyatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Petita Jida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawa Siddhi Me Piyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Satra Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Dida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. And this time, imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely. And so imagine the nectar flowing down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, and then the nectar flowing up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech, and then the light coming and just blasting all of the delusions. So we're working at a really subtle level here. And we're reciting the mantra at the same time. So this way, even the subtlest imprints of negative energy are eradicated from your consciousness. Om Vajrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Ambhadrasapa Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapa Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anurakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ahum Pe Vajrasapha Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasapha Dina Patita Jida Meboa Situkaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tata Gata Vajrama Mimutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Hum. Hey. So now you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So even the subtlest obscurations to enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to this power of resolve. And this is the fourth and the final step in the purification process. And it's really a crucial one, this one. And this is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And so without this, without making a decision like this, we're just going to keep doing the same old things over and over again. So this determination, this aspiration to refrain from harming is like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions. So Rinpoche used to talk about everything existing on the tip of the wishes, the aspiration. So you just have a wish, you just want to wish to refrain from harming. And you'll find that even when you have that aspiration, it goes a long way to sort of guiding you, kind of like guardrails. It sort of puts your mind in a different space. It puts your mind in a different direction. So a more positive direction. So think of something that you'd like to work on between now and tomorrow. It could be rumination, giving yourself a hard time. Could be something to do with your health. Maybe you make jokes about people and just because you're being funny, but maybe it could hurt people. Maybe you're careless with your speech. There's so many things. So we just think about something between now and tomorrow. And then Vajrasattva is delighted with us, wants to merge with your mind and melts into you, into white light, and then absorbs into you through your crown. And you think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. And we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. And you can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do our chanting the names of Manjushri. With tufts of hair, with plumes of luscious hair, with matted locks, cord tied, five-faced, with 5 hair tufts, his head well crowned, his head adorned with garlands of 5 strands. Upholding great observances, head shaven, the foremost of observances, chaste student, with great austerities, perfected fully, he is the greatest father, Gautama. A Brahman, knower of Brahman, arrived in full at Brahman Nirvana, awakening its branches liberation, release complete tranquility, quiescence. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long and for a swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche and for all of your own individual teachers.